Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today I'm going to be doing a business guide, and today's business guide is going to be on CEO Cargo. This is one of the best businesses in all of Grand Theft Auto Online, and if you can manage to run it correctly, it is extremely profitable. This business has also been updated a lot over the last couple of years in online, and now it is easily the best that it has ever been, and there's never been a better time to get into this business than right now. In this video, I'm going to show you tips and tricks that you can use to make running a CEO Cargo empire a lot easier in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you enjoyed the video, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and let's go ahead and get started. To begin using the CEO Cargo business, you are first going to need a CEO office. Luckily for us, the location of this place will not be very important. You're going to purchase these through the Dynasty 8 Executive Realty website. Now, there are two of these that I do recommend more so than the others, and those would be Maze Bank West for $1 million even, and the Arcadius Business Center for $2,250,000. Maze Bank Tower is almost double the price of the Arcadius Business Center, and it's literally 100 meters away from the Arcadius Business Center. Yes, it's like the big flex or whatever, but it really doesn't matter, and I genuinely think that the Arcadius Business Center is the better tower to have. Lime Bank West is also pretty good because of the view you get from the office, but we're not going to be spending much time there with this business, so I can't necessarily recommend that one over the other two that I have suggested, but get whichever one you want. I do also think it's worth mentioning to get an accommodation at this building, which is going to cost you about $795,000. The reason you're going to do this is so that you can set it as your spawn location, and other than that, I would avoid doing anything else to your CEO office unless you've already got a crazy amount of money and you want to ball out on it a little bit. Now that you've got your CEO office, you're going to go over there and head to the office computer, and this is where we are going to buy warehouses. These are going to be the main way that you can make money with this business. However, once you have purchased one, you can visit the front desk of your office and launch an export mixed goods mission, and this will pay you $50,000, and it is available to do every 48 minutes in GTA Online. The export mixed goods truck is going to spawn at one of your warehouse locations that you own. You're simply going to get into it and drive it down to the docks, and you will be paid $50,000. Now, very occasionally, probably once per year, this goes on double and sometimes even triple money, allowing you to really rake in some cash, because $150K every 48 minutes for just doing a simple 3-minute mission, not too bad. Now, which of the warehouses should you purchase? There are 3 different tiers of warehouse that you can buy, those being small, medium, and large. And I would only ever recommend purchasing large warehouses because they will allow you to hold more crates, allowing you to fill them up a lot more than these smaller warehouses between sale missions, so that you're going to have to do less sale missions to get your money out of the warehouses. Small warehouses can hold 16 crates and they cost between $250,000 to $400,000. Medium warehouses can hold 46 crates and cost between $850,000 to about $1 million. And then of course we have large warehouses that can hold 111 crates, and they cost between $1,900,000 and $3.5 million. Now, which large warehouses are the best? Since they're the only ones that I'm going to recommend, I'm going to tell you which ones I think you should purchase in order of first to last. So the first one that you should buy is the Cypress warehouse, coming in at $3,265,000. The reason I recommend this is because it is the absolute closest to the dock that you can get. So if you want to do your export mixed goods mission and you only have one warehouse, your truck is going to spawn at the Cypress warehouse guaranteed. So you can leave your office, go down there, and then just quickly drive to the docks, and it's literally like right around the corner from the docks. It's perfect. Now, beyond this, if you want to get more than one large warehouse, I would recommend the Wholesale Furniture Warehouse for $1,900,000, followed by the Logistics Depot for $2,600,000, followed by the Darnell Bros Warehouse for $3.5 million, and then either Walker & Sons for $3,040,000 or West Vinewood Backlot for $2,135,000. Now, the reason for that last one being either or is because the Walker & Sons is a lot closer than the West Vinewood Backlot is to the other large warehouses that you will be purchasing, but it will cost you $900,000 more. In the long run, I would say it's worth it to pick up Walker & Sons, but if you want to save $900,000, the West Vinewood backlot will just add, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, maybe a minute onto your trips to go to each of your warehouses. So it's not terrible, but if you factor in how much time that's going to save you over the long run, it might be worth it to pick up Walker & Sons. Now, the next thing that we have to talk about is, of course, sourcing the crates. How you actually make money with this business. Now, there are a few ways to do this. You can use your CEO office, your arcade using the master control terminal upgrade that is within the arcade, or of course you can use the Terabyte. Now, for most players, the Terabyte is going to be the best option. However, I am just going to go ahead and say it, you will need to own a nightclub in order to actually get the Terabyte, so do keep that in mind. But there are a couple of different reasons why the Terabyte is simply superior to everything else. Firstly, the Terabyte can be parked right outside of any warehouse that you want to source for, and because the warehouses you're going to buy are relatively close to each other, you won't have to keep moving it around very much. Basically park it between 3 warehouses in the middle and you can go back and forth to each of the warehouses. Now, the reason you're going to do this is because after every sourcing mission for one particular warehouse, you're going to have a 5-minute cooldown. So you source for one warehouse that it's parked right outside of, then you source for the one next door, and then once you've done that, if you still have time left over, you source for the other one next door, and by the time you've done that, your main warehouse should be able to be sourced for again. Now, you can do this for 2 warehouses back to back or 3 warehouses back to back, and it will become extremely efficient if you want to source crates this way. The other benefit to using the Terabyte to do your sourcing is that the Terabyte's sourcing missions didn't get updated to the newest version, which means that when you do the sourcing missions with the Terabyte, you're not going to get the newest missions that Rockstar have added into the game for CEO cargo. And this is a good thing, because there's one particular mission that is absolutely awful, and that is the underwater mission, where you're going to have to go all the way up to Paleto Bay for each of the 3 crates and bring them all the way back to Los Santos. And this can take 15 to 25, maybe even 30 minutes for a single sourcing mission for 3 crates. It's pretty terrible, and being able to skip out on this mission by using the Terabyte is absolutely awesome. Now, for these reasons, I would always recommend using the Terabyte to source and completely skip out on using the office or the master control terminal within the arcade. Now, some tips when it comes to sourcing: about 60% of the time your crates will spawn inside of a single vehicle, which you can go and pick up and just drive to the warehouse, and that is all you're going to have to do. And there is actually a way to tell which mission that you've got as soon as you begin the mission. If the warehouse you sourced to is not on your minimap, that means you have a single vehicle sourcing mission. So you're just going to go pick up the vehicle and drive it back to your warehouse. If you open up your map and you see the warehouse that you sourced to marked on the map, that means that that particular mission is going to be 3 separate crates, and you will have to go back and forth to pick all 3 of them up. If you get the Trackify mission when you start sourcing, 2 dots will appear on your Trackify radar, and then a 3rd dot will show up a little bit later. And that 3rd dot is always going to be where your cargo is located. And if you get the source mission where multiple green cargo crates appear on the map, the last one that flashes on and off will always be the one that your cargo is actually inside of. Now, once you've done a few sourcing missions, your assistant may call you and offer you a special item, and these are worth about $100,000 to about $150,000. The cost to source this will be 20% of the total value of the item, and if you elect to do this, you can then go and pick it up and bring it back to your warehouses. Now, unfortunately, these special items will have to be sold separately from the rest of your crates, but they still offer an 80% profit margin, which is pretty nice to get. Now, with the Criminal Enterprises update to Grand Theft Auto Online, they introduced warehouse technicians into the game, and one of these will be inside of each of your CEO cargo warehouses. You can go up to them and pay them $7,500, and they will source between 1 and 3 crates. 1 crate is of course the most common with a 65% chance, 2 crates are a 25% chance, and 3 crates is a mere 10% chance. On average, you're going to get about 1.5 crates per source. You also have a 1% chance to get a special cargo crate on top of whatever else your warehouse technician comes back with. And you'll be able to do this once every 48 minutes at each of your warehouses. And if you want to, you can source before you hop off of GTA Online, and then the next time that you get on, your warehouse crates will be delivered when you get back into the game. Now, similarly to most other businesses in GTA Online, this business can get raided. Now, normally you can only get raided if you have 78 crates or more inside of your large CEO cargo warehouses, meaning that if you simply sit at 77 crates in your warehouses, you will not be raided most of the time. This obviously sucks, as it means you can't access the full potential of your warehouses safely. However, it is better than losing millions of dollars worth of stock. You can avoid raids also by not being registered as a CEO. However, there are ghost raids that can happen regardless of how many crates you're holding or if you're registered as a CEO. However, this only ever happens if you go AFK for long periods of time. These are absolutely brutal though, so if you are holding crates and like to go AFK, you are taking a pretty big risk. I've personally never experienced this though, and I do like to go AFK a lot in GTA, but just because it hasn't happened to me doesn't mean that you will be so lucky. So definitely do keep this in mind. As far as selling and the sale missions go, CEO Cargo is one of the only businesses in the entire game where you can actually upgrade your sale vehicles to make sale missions easier and safer. I'd recommend starting off by getting the tugboat speed upgrade regardless of what you plan to do with this business, because it is just going to make the tugboat sale mission a lot more tolerable. Beyond this, further upgrades really depend on if you plan to sell in private sessions or public sessions. Obviously, if you're going public sessions, I would recommend upgrading every single one of these sale vehicles all the way. And you can find the station where you're going to upgrade these in each of your large warehouses. However, you only have to purchase the upgrade one time. Now, selling in public sessions will allow you to get a potentially massive high demand bonus at 2.5% more money for every player that is in the session, which caps out at 20 players, meaning that you can potentially get 50% more money on the total sale amount. But obviously, you are taking a relatively huge risk in doing this because you are playing in a public session. However, no matter what, if your sale mission goes poorly, if you fully close the game as quickly as possible, you can avoid losing your entire selection of crates. Most of the time, if you do this successfully, you'll only lose 3 crates, so it is not the end of the world. There are 3 types of sale missions that you can get with this business also: air, land, and sea, of course. The air missions being the most dangerous when it comes to the NPCs that will be coming after you. Land and sea missions, you will get NPCs coming after you, but they are relatively easy to defeat. Now, to avoid losing out in your air sale missions, what you're going to want to do is go to your sale vehicle and get inside of it and then immediately hop out once the drop-off locations are marked. Then you're going to want to get out and get into an armed aircraft, preferably something that's pretty fast, that has lock-on missiles like either a Hydra, laser, or an F-160 Raju, but even helicopters like the Buzzard will work, they're just not going to be as ideal. Then you're going to take this vehicle to all of the drop-off locations and make sure they are clear. If you don't do this, you may get a surprise from the most feared CEO Cargo NPC of them all, the CEO Cargo Valkyrie, and this thing, mark my words, will absolutely ruin your entire day if you do not take it out before you begin doing the sale mission. So keep this in mind, guys. If you have a friend playing with you, you can get them to go and start clearing out the drop-off locations while you start flying. But if you're solo, please get in an armed vehicle and go clear these drop-off locations before you actually proceed with your sale mission. Now, most sale missions will give you 30 minutes to complete, some being 20. No matter what, even as a solo player, you will be able to get all of these done within that time frame. It is plenty of time for what you're actually going to have to do in the sale missions. Now, as far as the profit with CEO Cargo goes, you can make lots of money with this business. For full warehouses in a solo or private session, they will each sell for $2,200,000. And of course, in a public session with 20 or more players, that equates to $3,300,000 per warehouse because of the 50% bonus money that you will get. Now, on double money, you can get $4,400,000 for each warehouse in a private session, or $6.6 million per warehouse in a public session that has 20 or more players because of that high demand bonus. You're probably wondering what it's going to cost to fill your warehouses as well, and using regular sourcing, you're going to spend about $660,000 to fill each warehouse, and using staff to passively source, you will only spend about $575,000 for each warehouse. So you actually make more money using the staff to passively source, but of course this will take a little bit more time. Your profit margins will be better though, so it is actually probably the better way to go. As for my final conclusion with the CEO Cargo business, in my opinion, now that we have the passive sourcing using the warehouse technicians, this business is best run by just using them alone. Sourcing yourself is not really worth the time and effort unless you're planning to only sell when CEO Cargo is on 50% bonus money or even double money. I personally visit my warehouses every 48 minutes and source over and over again. You'd be surprised how quickly you can actually fill up your warehouses just by doing this a few times per day. And then when you go to sell your warehouses, you haven't invested much time into it, meaning that you can run all your other businesses in the meantime, and that selling in a solo lobby isn't really the worst option because you're still making a ton of profit. If you have friends to play with that can help you sell in a public lobby, it may be worth the risk for the extra 50% bonus on your sale total due to the high demand bonus, but if you play solo, I would always recommend to just sell in a private session. This will almost guarantee you to complete every single sale successfully. It just means that you will make a little bit less money. That's it for the CEO Cargo Guide, guys. If you enjoyed this video, a like is of course appreciated, as I said at the start. Dislike if you didn't enjoy it, of course. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new. I'm going to be doing more money guides on more businesses in GTA Online. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, take care. Peace.